So what if you could create absolutely stunning, data-driven animations without ever opening a traditional video editor? I mean, we're talking about a fundamental shift in how we create content, where video isn't something you edit, it's something you build. Today, we're going to break down the exact formula for how to do it. This right here, this is the core idea that changes everything. Forget about those endless hours spent dragging keyframes in After Effects. The whole new way of thinking is to treat video just like any other piece of software. It can be version controlled, it's scalable, and it's built from code. It's a completely different mindset. So, how does this whole thing actually work in practice? Well, in this explainer, we are deconstructing the exact workflow that top creators are using to automate their entire video pipeline. They're using tools like Remotion and AI like Claude, and this is really for anyone who wants to learn how to build video at scale. And just look at the contrast here, it's pretty stark. You know, the old way was all about these super steep learning curves and just tedious manual work. The new way? It leverages skills that tons of developers already have. We're talking React and just writing simple prompts to build these really complex animations programmatically. The real takeaway is that shift from time-consuming labor to automated, super fast iteration. You know it, I know it. Every great video starts with an unskippable hook. In a world of endless scrolling, you've got maybe 5 seconds, tops, to convince somebody to stick around. So let's look at how the best creators using this new workflow are grabbing and holding onto your attention right from the get-go. Let's really get into that. What are the psychological triggers that actually make a hook land? Because it's not random. The source material shows there are these really clear, repeatable strategies that tap into things we all respond to, like urgency, familiarity, and yeah, even a little bit of FOMO. And this breaks it down perfectly. First, you've got the breaking news hook. You announce something new and powerful, like a new Claude skill. It creates immediate urgency. Then there's the knowledge gap hook, which is so smart. It tells React developers, hey, you already know how to do this, which turns the scary new thing into a fun, familiar challenge. And of course, the classic FOMO hook, which basically says everybody is doing this, making you feel like you've got to watch or you'll be left behind. Okay, so you've hooked them. They're in. Now what? Well, the next challenge is keeping them, and that requires a real plan, a blueprint for engagement that keeps your audience glued to the screen all the way to the end. The secret weapon here is something called a pattern interrupt. See, our brains just get bored with the same old thing, so you have to constantly mix it up visually. Top creators do this all the time. They'll switch from their face to a terminal window, then to a quick diagram explaining an idea, and then boom, a split screen showing the code and the live preview side by side. Every single switch just resets the viewer's attention clock. And here is a huge challenge with this workflow. A real viewer killer. You feed the AI a prompt, and it might take a minute, maybe even longer, to spit out the code. That's dead air, and it's a perfect time for a viewer to just click away. But there are some really smart ways to handle this dip. Right, so instead of just staring at a loading screen, you use that time. You can explain how to properly organize your prompts, which is super useful. Or you can show the viewer how you're planning to refine the animation with a follow-up prompt as soon as the first one is done. You're basically turning downtime into a valuable teaching moment. It's a brilliant way to keep people engaged. All right, we've covered the strategy, the hooks, the retention tactics. Now for the fun part, the practical stuff. How do you actually get started? This is your roadmap to getting that first programmatic video rendered and out the door. First things first, let's be crystal clear on the core tech here. Remotion is a framework that lets you use React, the web development library, to create actual videos. You can think of each component in your code as an element on the screen. The entire video is, quite literally, a React app. And honestly, the whole workflow boils down to just these 4 simple steps. It looks manageable because, well, it is. This is not some 6-month learning curve. For a developer who knows their way around, this is something you can get up and running with in a single afternoon. So, step 1, you pop open your terminal, you run this one command, npx create video at latest. This will set up a brand new Remotion project for you. Pro tip here, choose the Blink template and make sure you say yes to enabling Tailwind CSS. It'll make styling everything way easier later on. Now this next step, this is the secret sauce. This is the magic. You need to give Claude the ability to understand and write Remotion code. And you do that by installing this specific agent skill. This command essentially teaches the AI Remotion's entire API, so your prompts get translated into perfect working code. And here is where it all comes together. You don't have to sit there writing hundreds of lines of complex animation code by hand. Nope. You just write a simple, natural language prompt describing what you want to see. The Claude agent, which is now an expert in remotion, takes that and generates all the React components for you. It's incredible. Once you're happy with the code that Claude generated, you previewed it, it looks good, you run this one last command, npx remotion render. That's it. This takes your entire React codebase and renders it out, frame by frame, into a final MP4 video file that's ready to go. Okay, so let's zoom out for a second and just absorb the big takeaway from all this. What we are really seeing here is a fundamental change in what a video even is. It is shifting from just being a creative asset to being a full-on software artifact. And this just says it all. Because your video is now code, you can use Git to track every single change. You can create libraries of reusable animation components. You can connect it to a live database to generate thousands of unique data-driven videos automatically. The potential for scale is just mind-boggling. And so that leaves us with one last really powerful question. When you stop thinking about video as a timeline that needs to be edited and start thinking of it as an application that can be built, it just opens up a whole new universe.